All right, part two. We are back. So a couple of things before I start. I realized I made a mistake. I made a boo-boo. Okay, and I got a little bit too ahead of myself, and I was wondering why, like it just didn't just click right. And then I figured out right after I hit end on the video on the last one. So sorry. But this right here, these states right here are actually not correct. They will, I mean, they could work like this, that's fine. But then I could keep it like this, but then I will have to go to everywhere else where I'm calling the state, the piece of states, like over here, for example, and I gotta change these names as well. They have to match, okay? They have to match. So that's basically what I was getting at. So I'm gonna name this text because that's what I had named it before, and change that to text. And this was day, so I'm gonna bring that back to day. And this I think was fine. Let me see. Apologize about this. Yep, that's fine. But now I gotta change it over here, and this will be text, and then this will be text. And here where this will be day, and this will be day. Okay, we're good. That's one problem done. And the other one was the I wanted to talk to you about the React Dev tools, React Developer Tools. Okay, so that's a very, 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 very friendly tool to have, and you should have it. So if you notice up here, I have the little icon here that tells me that React Developer Tools has access to the site, and basically saying that there is React in this page. So just go to any, I don't know, like on Google, and look up on the Chrome Web Store and the extensions, React Developer Tools. Make sure you add it to Chrome, and that's it. Refresh your browser on the application, and then you should see this come up. Then when you right click on it, you'll get this guy right here. It says component. So if you click on it, you'll be able to see all of your components here, but you also get to see the props and the hooks, all the states that you're messing with, and all that good stuff. Okay, so that's great. That's really great. So let's see if these states are wired up correctly. If we come over here to the task and you attach anything in there, now you see that the state value has been attached to that state. Same thing here, has been attached. And if I create a reminder, it says it to true because I changed the state, the current target state for that, checkbox to be true. All right, so now we can move on to the rest of the application. All right. So the one thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we can call this right here, this button right here, from the main screen right here. We wanted to add to the main screen over here. Oops, sorry. We want to add it to the main screen over here. So to add it to the main state, you have to go to where the main state is being called from, which is here, and add task is here. So this is basically where you want to add, and I kind of went ahead a little bit. Sorry. Let me just back up a little bit so I don't confuse you. I don't want to confuse you with this. All right, cool. Sorry. All right, so we want to go over here to the add task. Make sure that everything still runs. Yep, still runs. All right. And we want to create basically a to this button right here, to this component, this entire component, add task. This got wider for a second. There you go. This entire component here is called add task. We want to make sure that this add task right here creates, fires up an event when I click on the button for that component. So that button we're gonna just call on add. It's basically going to fire up a function, just like we've done plenty of times. So on add, I want to run a function, and I'm gonna call that one add task. Okay, this add task doesn't exist yet. I gotta build it. So I'm gonna come over here and I'm going to say const add task, and I wanted to use the object, one of the objects. There you go. Alright, and for right now, all I want to do is basically console log the task item. Okay, I just want to console log it right now, then I eventually do some stuff to it. I just want to make sure that it console logs. So now obviously when I click this on that doesn't mean anything to the component right now. So if I save it, that's still not gonna do anything. It doesn't know what's going on because this right here doesn't, it's not assigned to an actual event, form event in this case. So I'm going to make sure that I pass this on add, and I pass it down to a prop, to the add task, which is down here. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here to the add task, and I gotta make sure that it is available to me at the add task level. So now that it is there, I gotta go ahead and use it in here somewhere. So I could do an on click if I wanted to on the button. I could do it just like that, but because the button is already type submit, that button is already going to submit whatever is going to be attached to the unsubmit form. So if I put unsubmit, maybe if I explain it like this, it'll make more sense. If I tell the form unsubmit, fire something in here, it's gonna know the submit is going to happen when I click on this button because it's the button with the type submit in it. Hopefully that makes sense. Alright, so what am I gonna do on submit? I'm basically on submit, I'm not gonna call directly like I just had it before, like that. I'm not gonna call directly to the on add because I want to do a few of the things before I get that far. So instead, I'm gonna call a helper function, if you will, and I'm gonna create this helper function here that is going to create a couple more stuff for me before I actually create the ad, but it's also going to create the ad for me at the same time. So when you need to do more than just one thing, don't just create a function that is going to it's going to encapsulate several functionalities into one, and then call that one function, and all of it will run at once. So what are the many things that I want to do here? Well, first of all, I want that button to run when I click it and not every time I press enter, because what if I'm here and I want to press enter so I can move on to the next button, for example, like a tab would do, something like that, for any reasons really. You don't want this to capture that enter right away, so you want to prevent the default actions of a button, which is most likely to take focus and hit an event, and hit the click event. So I'm going to select the event and I'm going to prevent the default functionality of this event. Okay, so just like that, and that would basically cancel that part of the button, but it will still make it usable. You can still click it and work it. Okay, all right, so the next thing I want to do on this unsubmit, is this even right? Because it's, oh duh, there we go, sorry. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I clear out all of my fields right here, so when I hit add task, it just basically clears it out, so I don't want to have to come over here, fill all this out, add task, and then have to come over here and delete it, right? You want it to delete, so you basically got to get all the states back to the way they were. So you're gonna get the set, you're gonna call this set. Remember, when you're not changing the title, you can't do this. For example, you can't do this like that. Okay, that doesn't work because state is not immutable. You cannot overwrite it. You have to recreate it. So instead, you have to set text. There you go. Set text, and what the hell am I doing? And then set day, there you go, and then set reminder. But set reminder is a boolean, it's not a string, so it's going to be false. Alright, so I got that. And now that I clear them, right, so if I save it right here, you can see me fill stuff out, and then when I add test, it clears it. So now that I do that, I also wanted to then run this onAdd, or basically fire up the onAdd event and send the props over. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the onAdd function, and inside there I'm gonna put my properties that I want to send over to my main page over here, my home, right? Yeah, right here. So now this is ready to catch that onAdd event with all of its props, and then fire up this add test right here. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is basically just console log what I have there. All right, so let's see if it works. If I put over here some like that and some other thing like that, and set a reminder, and I add task, I am successfully console logging what I wanted. See, all of the crap that I typed is basically there. Okay. The reminder did not go back. Let me close this. Did not go back to false. That's odd. Set reminder, set reminder, set reminder. This should have, let me look in here. I'm not too worried about it, but I'm worried about it. Okay. So basically I didn't reset the checked property of it, which is going to basically just be a reminder. The value, the state, not the property, the state. Okay, so let's do it again. So if I come over here and I do this and then I do that and I task, it clears it. Now it works. All right, so that's good. We can go ahead and close that out, and let's keep working on the home page over here. All right, so we had the add task, and did that record? Yep, that recorded in here. It's true, and now it's false. So it recorded before it cleared it, which is good also. So all of that is fine. So now it's time to actually add it to the bottom down here. So we have it right here that the event is being caught right here on the add task. So that part is working perfectly. So what we have to do is, first of all, we have to create an ID, because we don't have nothing in here to input a new ID, and you shouldn't let anyone add a new ID. The ID has to be generated, by the code itself, most likely by your backend developer. But since we're not doing any backend development, we're doing ourselves basically. We're just gonna do some, something real quick over here. So I'm not gonna need this anymore, so I'm just gonna delete that, and I am basically going to build a random ID using the math function. So on the math function, I'm gonna use the floor method in it, and inside it I'm gonna use the random method of the math object times, I'm gonna pick a high number so it gets me up to that number, 10,000. All right, plus 1. All right, so that's good enough. And then now what I'm going to do is I am going to create now what I need to send in here. So what is it that I need to send in there? Is I need to send this ID, plus I need to send the new object. So it's basically a key value pair. So I am going to create a new key value pair called new task, and the new key value pair is going to consist of an ID and the spread of my new object that I'm sending, this object. Okay, so that way it's adding basically this to my to this prop. So it's basically going to send that value that is in here, this value that is in here, the value caught by this, whether it's the boolean of it, and the ID is going to be added to the spread. You need to spread it so you can add it, and then it'll get packed in together. Okay, so that's created, and now we're going to go ahead and create the new state, the new piece of state. So we call in for the set task. Is it set task or set tasks? Set tasks. Okay, we're gonna call in for the set tasks, and we're going to send in we're going to make sure we call for the state and spread it, and then we're gonna add the new task that we added to it to create that new piece of state. All right, now let's see if we hit enter, and now let's run this right here. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna create that as well, and I'm gonna hit an enter, and it's gonna give me an error. All right, let's find out what's going on. Task is not iterable. Task is not iterable. New task. Oh, okay. This is gonna give me problems because I'm creating a new task and then I'm iterating to the same. Okay. I may have to do some recursive issue here. Some, not recursive. We may have to do some what's the word I'm looking for? Basically recoding some stuff. So I'm gonna create this right here, this task, set tasks. And it is kind of smart enough to tell you which ones. You don't need this console log anymore. It's gonna smartly tell me which one needs, but we'll figure it out as well once we go. Okay, tasks. Let's see if that's all there is. Alright. First, let's make sure that everything else works. So that deletes, that changes it. That's good. Now let's see if this works. New task, new task. Alright, let's see what's going on here. Time to do some debugging together, huh? Okay. Is it tasks? Oops. Yeah, that's task. That's the main reason why I did this. Hello. All right, here we go. So if I add something here and something there, set that reminder, another task, bam, there it is. And I can still edit it and I can still delete it. Voila, there you go. So it was giving me problems because I created that new object, the same thing as this. So it depends how far along you are in your code. Because I wasn't really too far, and it made sense more that this was plural anyway. I did it that way. But in retrospect, now that I think about it, the easier way to have done this would have been if this would have just been, for example, disk and disk, and it would have worked. That's it. That's the only change I needed to do, because this right here is this particular one right here. But whatever, I changed this one. I like it like this better anyway, so this works out. All right, so we are on to something. All right, so now all we need to do now is basically make sure that this form right here doesn't show up all the time, but basically only when you hit when you want to add a task with this one, right? So we're going to bring in a couple of properties. So first thing we want to do is we want to, I don't think we're gonna need this click here, so not yet anyway. Or possibly never. Yeah, we're not. So we're just gonna go ahead and get rid of that, and make this small. And then this click right here, we don't need that anyways, but we are going to need a new piece of state, and this one's going to be show add and set show add. Yep, set show add, and that's going to equal use state, and that's going to be initialized as false. Alright, so now that I have this piece of state that is being initialized as false, I can go ahead and pass it to the page title, which is this piece right here, so I can use it right there. And then now what I can do is, since this is already recording as false, right, what I want to do is I want to make sure that I wrap this into its own thing there, and basically do this. So what I'm doing here is basically the exact same ternary function that you see here, but it's a shorthand one. It's basically, when you don't want anything else to happen on the else, you can omit the else by just saying, if show add is true, do this. If not, then just do nothing. So when there's do nothing, then you can just do it this way, and it saves you a little bit of code. So if we save this, now you see that it's but nothing is working when I click on it, because I am initializing it as false, but I'm not switching, I'm not changing it. So I have to add that click functionality to it. It's just being initialized as false. If I were to change this as true, for example, then it would just show up there. Alright, so now we have to make sure that we do this toggling at this click right here. So now that we have that done, and then we can then now go ahead and start wiring up. We can start wiring this thing up. So on the on add, if you remember, we have an on add right here, right? So using the on add, we're gonna make it so that it throws a function. Let's go on first and close it. Yep. All right, let's bring this down to smaller. I mean, not smaller, but easy to understand. Right here, and then here we're gonna add a function, and that function is going to be an arrow function. And then now we're going to set show add. We're going to bring in the we're going to recreate the state, and we're going to basically just do the opposite of show add. All right, so now that we have that piece created, now that we have that piece created, we got to make sure that we go to the page title right here and make sure that we pick it up from there. And then when we pick it up from there, I believe, then the click button, where, if I can find it, the click button, which you probably still have, but I had removed it before. The click is going to be, is it going to be click or on click? No, it's going to be show add, right? Where's this coming from? It's going to be on click. Let me make sure. On click on add. All right, let's see. Let's see if this works. I may be mistaken, but probably all right. Add, close. All right, so I was fine. All right, so now it works. Now you see it's work. Now, the only thing that I don't like here is that this should change. So this should say close now, and it should say add, and it should close, and say add, close, right? So the only thing that we have to do is we gotta mess around with this button text a little bit here. So, what is it? On the button right here, we are going to change that text. But that text is actually being used here instead. So actually here is where I am going to change it. So instead of adding this string, I am going to add this, and I'm going to say show add right? If show add is true, close. If not, oops. What is it? Add? Then yeah. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Open, and then if I want to close it, close it. Yep, just like that. And then let's see what else can we do here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yep, that's pretty much it. Just add and close. That's, I think, all you're probably going to be using. Okay, so this is the end of it. Make sure that we are good to go here. We can set up another one and not even reminder and add it, and that's fine. We can delete this, we can delete that, we can make that one, do that one, delete it again, delete it, delete them all. You still nothing to see, and that can still close. If you want, you can make it that you close after you add tasks. You can make that to close, but that doesn't really make much sense, because what if you want to add more, so it's better if you just add the close. And obviously, because it's not a persistent data, we're not working with an API or anything like that, there's nothing we can do, so we have to it doesn't persist, but we will eventually. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.